Hello everyone, Emily Schmidt here, and I am here to talk country music. Now before half of you leave, this podcast is for two types of people. Those of you who do like country music and those of you who don't but are curious to learn more. I, up until recently, was one of those people who, when asked about what type of music they like to listen to, I would say everything but country music. And I've kind of made that part of my personality trait, like many of us do. But last semester, in one of my writing classes, I was actually assigned a personal journalism project, meaning we really just needed to choose something to learn about and document the experience of learning about it. I was trying to work on character development since that was something that I struggled with before, and what better character to focus on than myself, am I right? So I decided to choose something to learn about that would really expose my character. And what better way to do that than learning about something that is basically the opposite of the character, right? Like, I didn't listen to any country music before. Hating on it was part of my personality. And I figured, hey, let's unpack this and see what I find. The process was pretty simple. I asked some recommendations from my friends and family and listened to them and figured out what I thought of them. And in listening to many, many different songs, I think I listened to up to 70 different songs from various artists, I left the process with more questions than I started. And that's the reason why I'm starting this podcast, to kind of take you through this journey of learning about country music, because there isn't really that much info out there on country music, the way it sounds, and kind of its interactions with other genres. One of the songs that really sparked my curiosity was the song Loving You on My Mind by Josh Turner. If you're not into country music, he's the artist that sings "Baby Lock Them Doors and Turn the Lights Down Low." That song. I feel like everybody knows that song. So Loving You on My Mind was one of the first songs that I listened to. Here's a clip of it.
I just got a lot of loving you on my mind.
Now, my first reaction to this song was like, this is really good, but it's not, there's something off about it. And I couldn't really put my finger on what was off about it, but I knew that it was too country for me. The first thing that I thought of after I discovered that was, wow, this would be an insanely good R&B cover. Like, if you made this an R&B song, it would be my favorite song for the entire year. #1 on Spotify Wrapped. But it wasn't. And I couldn't quite put my finger on why that was. So that raised one question. Another song that raised many other questions was Felt Good on My Lips by Tim McGraw. Here's that one.
But I have to admit, it felt good on my lips.
So if you had never heard this song before, you might have reacted like I did when I heard it for the first time and asked, this is a country song? Like, yeah, it is, I guess. It's by Tim McGraw, which is a pretty popular country artist. But this song doesn't really sound like country music to me. It sounds really alternative, like the guitars could have been a Blink-182 song. So I was really confused again. It was kind of the opposite side of the spectrum from Loving You on My Mind. This one it's supposed to be country, but it doesn't sound like country. And the other one is supposed to be country, but to me it would have sounded better if it wasn't country. Now, another song I have some questions about, or I guess pair of songs, is the song I Swear. The original version is by John Michael Montgomery, and he's a country singer, but I didn't know that until recently when I started doing some research on this. The version that I was familiar with was by the boy band All for One, really popular in the 90s, and they sound vastly different.
I swear by the moon and the stars in the sky, I'll be there. And I swear by the moon and the stars in the skies, I'll be there.
So the first version you heard was the original John Michael Montgomery, the country version, and the second was the All for One version. I was really perplexed when I heard the original and compared it to the song that I knew. The melody is the same, the chords are the same. On paper, everything is the same, but the generic differences are immense. I was really perplexed as to how and why and what makes these two songs sound so different. It's kind of a recurring theme here. They're all kind of pointing to the same issue. But one more song is also pointing to this issue. Old Town.
I got the horses in the back, door stock is attached. Head is matted black, got the bushes black to match.
Lil Nas X, he was on top of the charts for what felt like eons, but one chart that he wasn't on top of was the country music Billboard charts. He actually reached number 19 on that until Billboard decided to take his song off of the country music charts and didn't really disclose why. All they said was that it didn't fit the genre. Okay, why? They didn't really disclose that. So all of these songs, Lovin' You on My Mind, Felt Good on My Lips, I Swear, and Old Town Road, they all point to one question. What the heck does country music sound like? What makes country music country music? Well, lucky for you, I looked into that and tried to answer that question. Some of the research that I did was I started with 90s country music because with the people who I know who love country music, they all say that 90s was the peak of country music. They all love 90s country music. So I started there. I found 60 of the best 90s country songs to add to your playlist from countrythangdaily.com. Took the top 13 and kind of compared and contrasted them, made an Excel sheet, and looked at a lot of the recurring themes, musical elements or instruments, anything that stood out to me as sounding distinctly country. Now, in my research to try to answer the question, what makes country music sound like country music, I did come up with some results, but in the process, I also came up with a lot of questions, probably more questions than I did results. So for the next episode, I will be answering somewhat the question, what makes country music sound like country music, and focusing on the distinct country guitar sound. Who popularized it, what kind of guitar, what kind of techniques are used to play. So tune in next time to learn more about country music and country guitar. Thanks for tuning in.